Well, hey there, friends, and also Nancy. As
What's
you can
that
see,
sound?
I'm back from the desert. I was going.
Is that Cheryl's annoying voice?
I had a hard time finding the part in your video where you even did it because there was so much freaking whining at the beginning.
Are you insulting me?
Even after I put the definition of palmate leaf in my original video, you still had to text me a picture to make sure that the leaf you'd found was the right kind.
Are we gonna stand for this, Team SciBugs? No, I do not think we are.
Turf Wars, a battle of wits, knowledge, and creativity. Which naturalist will prove they're the best? Choose your fighter and watch the action unfold on Turf Wars!
Well, Sheryl, you thought that you could air out my dirty laundry, but unfortunately for you, I think I come out on top anyway. One, I wanted to make sure that I didn't give any misinformation to my loyal love bugs, and by extension, didn't give any misinformation to your followers who might see this Turf Wars video. And so, because your definition did not include whether or not a palmate leaf is a palmate leaf simply because of the lobes and it had to be symmetrical, or it was okay if the leaf was asymmetrical. And if you remember, the one example that I was a little bit unsure of was asymmetrical. So I wanted to make sure that both my love bugs and your audience by extension didn't get misinformation. Two, we're in this to see who's the better naturalist, right? And a lot of people will argue that being the better naturalist means that you know the most, but I would disagree. I think being the better naturalist is being able to humbly accept when you don't know everything. I tried to look it up. I tried to look at palmate leaf examples. That's why I thought that one was a palmate leaf. But I am not above asking for help and asking for clarification when needed, even if it's from my rival. And I think that's really important because a lot of people look at scientists and are like, oh my God, they know everything. When in reality, a lot of science is just looking up stuff that you don't know. So, I hope that we've cleared up that little bit of misinformation. As for your challenge, Sheryl.
You want to see the desert? Girl, I have got you covered. You multiplied my challenge by 3, now I'm gonna do the same.
I think you'll find that the task at hand was to pinpoint and select 5 specific features of the ecosystem that would tell what the ecosystem was just from those 5 things.
I want you to be able to show these images, show this footage to someone without any explanation, and they would be able to be like, oh yeah, that plant that came from the Midwest United States, or yeah, that thing came exactly from Utah. That is your job, friend.
In your case, you covered all of the ecosystem, so it was very obvious what ecosystem it was. I think you probably could have only made it more clear if you literally wrote what it was. Well, Sheryl, I'm going to give you 3 stars. You could have gotten 5. You found me some pretty cool stuff, but you didn't follow directions. While we're on the subject who can pay attention and follow directions, let's take a look at some entries that were submitted for some of our previous challenges. First up is Kylie with palmate leaves from her backyard in the UK. And next up is Biker Dave, and he shows us a little bit around some unique features of California.
My territory goes from the San Jose Bay Area all the way down through Monterey County and Big Sur. So today we are going to start with number 1, which is the trees in our area. The Sequoia sempervirens, which is a redwood tree. The redwood tree forms clumps of dirt in its root system, which only goes down about 6 feet. Number 4, the unique things about where I live. If you can see these streaks behind me, they're kind of a purplish hue, which is why this is called Purple Sands Beach. The purple is from manganese magnet, which flows down from the mountain up there. 5 estuaries behind me.
Oh, and for your challenge to me, you want me to find an ecosystem or landscape shaped by water?
But that doesn't mean there's never water in a desert. Desert formations like canyons and washes are formed by the movement of water during certain times of the year. So that's your challenge, Nancy. I want you to show me a landscape feature, like a canyon, a wash, or some other feature that was shaped by the movement and erosion power of water.
Well, you probably think that I'm gonna do it here in the cloud forest because that would be easy. But oh no, we're gonna take a trip to Otavalo at 10,000 feet. We are in drag country, informally called La Sierra, or the desert. See you there. Bye.
To get to where we were going though, we had to walk through this old cobblestone pathway through this really beautiful park.
Well, Sheryl, you made me find a landscape that was made by water. And well, ba-da! Here you go. This is the Peguche Waterfall. As you can tell, it is quite large and it has cut out this entire landscape. Not only has it cut out this landscape, but you see how lush this green forest is around me? Right now we are in Otavalo, which is actually about 10,000 feet in what is called here the Sierra, or the desert region. It's not a true desert, but it's definitely a dry forest or paramo ecosystem. But because of this waterfall, you can get all this really green, lush vegetation that's growing around here because the humidity is just a little bit higher. Now, in addition to the fact that it's literally cut out a hole, I think should be more than sufficient to meet the requirements for your challenge. Let me know how I did in the comments, fam, and don't forget to root for Team SciBugs. Hashtag Team SciBugs. I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about the Peguche Waterfall. If this is a sacred site, many people still get married here, and before important celebrations like Inti Raymi, which is the summer solstice festival, you will find many of the people in the community here bathing in the waters of this waterfall as a way to cleanse themselves. You can swim in it any time of the year, although the water is cold, so I do not recommend. All right, Sheryl, now we're gonna start on your challenge. And if you are playing along at home, feel free to also participate in the following challenge. I know that we can all do much better than Sheryl. Hashtag Team SciBugs. Okay, Sheryl, here's your challenge. I want you to find me an invasive species and tell me a little bit about it. What is its ecology that makes it do so well in this new area? How did it get to be there? Why is it considered invasive? And then I want you to find me a native species and compare that ecology. Why does it belong in that area? What is it doing in the environment, etc., etc. So to start off, here behind me, you might recognize these from videos and stuff from Australia, but these are eucalyptus trees. Almost all of these big trees behind me are eucalyptus, and they are all invasive here in Ecuador. There are huge eradication programs to get them out of national parks, like National Park Cotopaxi, which is a big volcano, and even in Quito, there's this little region called Rumipamba where they are trying to do a strict eradication of the eucalyptus trees. The eucalyptus trees were originally brought in to help control erosion. Unfortunately, because these trees typically grow in the outback of Australia, our dry climate here was a perfect match for them. So they just kind of took over, and they have several adaptations that help them outcompete the plants that are here. One of them is changing the soil composition. They're also highly resistant to forest fires, and they have these really, really long, deep root systems that help them compete for water better than some of the native stuff that's here. However, some of the native stuff that's here is actually better at handling the volcanoes. All right, now we're gonna talk about a native species. Well, Sheryl, for our native species, we are going to talk about these beautiful llamas. They have been domesticated by the indigenous people here for several thousands of years now. And it's really important to talk about because after the Spanish came, they brought cows and horses and pigs and goats, and all of these animals, their hooves are really, really sharp. And so when they're walking through the kind of really soft landscape here, most of this landscape is paramo or grasslands. Those hard feet like break up the soft grassland, soft kind of vegetation that covers these hills, whereas llamas have these kind of weird feet down here that are really, really soft and padded. And so when they're walking through the ecosystem here, they're not breaking up that soft and delicate vegetative tissue, and they're not breaking up the thin layer of topsoil that's necessary to support all of this growth. Well, Sheryl, there we have our invasive species of the eucalyptus and our native species, the llamas, and I cannot wait to see what you managed to do for me, showing a native species and an invasive species in your ecosystem. And if you're playing along at home, I can't wait to see what you show me from your ecosystems too. See you all very soon. Bye!